We're just 2 episodes into the second half of Season 1 of The Owl House, but that means we only have 7 episodes left until the season is over, and based on the promo, the final few episodes are going to be something awesome, so I thought I'd take this opportunity to lay out all of my finale predictions for what is to come, as well as my theories about who Emperor Belos really is. Now, I could be wrong, but it seems like with there being a 2-part or hour-long finale coming at the end of this season, it's pretty likely that the Emperor is going to be an important part of that, and I think that his identity might be revealed or at least hinted at in these episodes. In a previous video, I went over the evidence detailing that the Emperor might be human. For instance, he seems to have these relics in his palace that Luzs and the others are trying to steal, each one with symbols from the various covens, item which, according to the Owl House mobile game, grant you extreme power based on the coven it represents. The Emperor and his coven already have access to all types of magic, so it stands to reason, at least in my head, that he himself may not naturally have that power, and needs these various items to ensure that he can stand strong against those even in his own coven, in case they turn on him. He also has magic barriers in his prison that only a human can walk through. Why would he want that unless he thought himself to be the only human in the Boiling Isles? Now, as of yet, there has been no mention of Luzs Father, which isn't actually that uncommon in TV these days. Having 2 parents is often just not necessary for plot and story purposes, and even back in the 90s, for instance, Andy from Toy Story only had a mother because it was just deemed unnecessary extra cost to design and animate another human to be his father. In today's time, it also gives representation to families that aren't traditional, with both parents in the household. However, these shows often at least address the missing parent at some point, explaining that they are either out of the child's life for a particular reason or have passed away. While it's possible her father may just not be around for perfectly human reasons, I think they might have set up her character this way to reveal that the Emperor is in fact her father. Now, this may be overreading some things, but I think the way Luzs Mother treats her may lend to this theory. In the first episode, it's clear that Luzs Mother loves her, but despite how much she claims to also love her creativity, it seems to be a big concern for her. Of course, that isn't helped by the fact that Luzs is bringing fireworks and snakes into school, but that isn't an issue with creativity so much as an issue with understanding safety and rules. Despite this, she is happy to see her daughter be sent away to a camp designed to make children conform, and the implication is that it's going to make her give up on her ideas of fantasy. This is played mostly for laughs in that episode, with it seemingly just being a case of parents not understanding how crushing this sort of thing can be, but it also could hint at deeper issues that Luzs Mother has. If it is true that Luzs Mother loves her creativity, it's also true that she fears it to some degree, and that fear may be because of a personal experience she had. To me, it feels at least possible that she fell in love with Luzs Father, a man who was obsessed with fantasy just the way Luzs is, and one day he might have mysteriously vanished in pursuit of such fantasy. And that would have made Luzs' mom nervous that her daughter could end up having the same fate if she indulged the creative parts of her too much. It may also explain her not so concerned reaction to discovering the Boiling Isles that we see in the promo. She isn't surprised to find the Boiling Isles, it seems, but she does seem mildly surprised to find that Luzs is there. It's possible that she's actually been to the Boiling Isles before even, but decided to leave despite Luzs' father wanting to stay. Now, the question you may be asking is, how does Luzs even get close enough to figure any of this out? We do see her getting into the Emperor's palace in the promo, but why on earth is she there to begin with? Well, if we look closely, there are a few clues. First and foremost, all of the kids are wearing school uniforms, including Luzs. Now, it is possible that they came here straight after school, but it seems to me that they are actually at the Emperor's palace as part of some field trip. The gang will seemingly be sneaking away from the rest of their class, and we actually see this shot here of Luzs using a glyph to break into some sort of vent, presumably to bring her to the room where these relics are. Luzs and Gus seem mildly confused by what's going on, with Willow being kind of a badass here, which makes me think that her motivations for doing this are actually pretty good. Willow is generally the hardest to convince to do something bad, and she's a very nervous person, so stealing objects of great power would be a hard sell for her. We have other shots from the trailer that show Belos talking to Lilith, which makes me think that whatever motivation the kids have probably came from overhearing this conversation. We now know that Lilith not only wants Ida to join the Emperor's coven, but wants it to be her own choice. She really doesn't want Ida to meet some sad fate, so the fact that she looks rather concerned in these shots makes me think that they are discussing her. The Emperor has likely lost patience with Lilith over waiting for Ida to join the coven, so it's likely that he is telling her that it's time to bring in Ida for good, maybe even execute her, and that would make Luzs, Willow, and Gus spring into action to try and stop them. By taking away his items of power, they can become not just stronger than him, but maybe even the other witches in the Emperor's coven. I think this sort of development will come after a few more episodes that dive into just how messed up the coven system really is, how it limits people and punishes them unfairly for not falling under a particular label that the Emperor has to approve. There's evidence of this in the trailer as well as in the upcoming episode description. We see that Luzs is wearing this gray outfit as part of her school uniform, which is revealed to be part of the delinquent track where people go when they don't learn any magic. But Luzs is later seen wearing a multicolored outfit, which implies that she's on all the different tracks at the school. And I think along the way, she's going to have other people realize that they shouldn't be limiting the kind of magic they're learning either. On the other hand, there may be even more going on here than just that. While I'm assuming they overhear the Emperor talking to Lilith about Ida, there may be something much more sinister going on behind the scenes. They might discover a conspiracy to keep all the witches in servitude that goes beyond simply choosing a particular career path. Now, circling back to Luz's mom, it's very likely that her appearance in the Boiling Isles will be in the final episodes as well. If my other predictions about her role in the Boiling Isles are wrong, then she may just have stumbled upon the door while looking for Luzs, perhaps learning that she isn't at the summer camp and searching her neighborhood for where she might have disappeared. Perhaps at the same time that Luzs was going to return home because it's the end of summer when the season ends. An alternate idea is that she follows Albert while he's on a trash treasure run, or that Ida specifically seeks out Luz's mom to help her with the problem she is having with Luzs. Either way, I think the season will end with one of two possibilities. The first is that Luz's mother sees that her daughter is getting her wish, even if it's a dark, scary version, to live out her dreams of being in a fantasy world, and gives her permission to keep living on the Boiling Isles so long as they still visit each other regularly. The second is that Luzs has to make a choice whether or not to return home, and losing her mother in the process. It's very possible that Luz's mother will insist she return home, but in the ultimate act of rebellion and claiming her autonomy, Luzs will refuse to go. This would lead into an emotional arc in Season 2 where she has to reconcile with her mother at some point. But these are all just theories and speculations for now. I, for one, can't wait to see what happens, and we'll be making plenty of videos about it along the way, so make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them. Until then, see you next time.